All right, hey Cigarette Tiger. This is our second episode of Backlined, an interview series with indie artists from across the country. Today we have Cody Bowers with Mammoth Indigo. Here you are. How are you doing, Cody? Thanks for being with us today, man.
I'm good, man. Thanks for calling me up and everything. It's nice to finally put a face to your name.
Definitely, man. You as well. So we've been following Mammoth Indigo for a bit now. We've written a piece. They've made most of our monthly playlists. The band has two albums out, a self-titled and an album from a couple years ago. They've been releasing a couple of singles over the past couple months, including a song released last night actually called Everything, which is great. I love the tune, man. It sounds awesome.
Thank you.
So if you haven't heard Mammoth Indigo yet, what you're going to get is emotional transparency, indie alternative, just bliss. Really good, great stuff. So I wanted to talk, first of all, about the shift that's been kind of going on with your music. I've noticed that, okay, your older stuff, it seems like it was more rock dependent. You're relying more on guitar riffs. There's always been synths and everything that are decorating it. But now it seems to be more synth-based, more poppy than your previous stuff. If you just want to talk about how your writing process has influenced that at all, is that something that is intentional? Just go for it. Tell us what's up.
You're absolutely right. It has been a ton of synths, and I think I've been kind of noticing over the past few years that I started the band just playing guitar and drums and singing, and then over time I think I was just kind of realizing that a lot of the music that I listened to, I had a ton of roots in the alternative rock and emo and everything that most people kind of come up with loving that kind of rock music and stuff. And then I was just realizing what I haven't tried is I listen to a ton of music that's more synth and pop and these weird quirky artists that are making these vocals that are things that I am constantly wowed by because they don't fit into a box, and I'll show people that make the same music or are into sort of the same genre of bands and stuff that I have been the music I listen to, and it's always so I just kind of felt I was more in this pop weird sugar candy world,
Yeah.
of things I really like. And then so lately I've been kind of trying to do a little bit of that, kind of trying to dip my toes into pop writing and how difficult it is to actually write a pop song.
Definitely.
And
yeah.
not super cheesy,
Yeah.
because like you said, a lot of my older stuff was really really on just almost agonizingly just real. I was just trying to be I'm not bullshitting you, this is some serious stuff from my heart.
Yeah.
And then I wanted it to be a little bit more something where you could put it on in your house or at a party.
Okay.
Or anywhere, and people would kind of notice that it was reasonable and fun, but also has a real message to it. And blending those worlds is really hard, and I really love and do it. And I'm most proud of these new songs,
Mm-hmm. Cool. So I remember with the new songs you were talking about trying to write, record, produce everything in 24 hours.
Yes.
That sounds like an insane task. That just, as someone who's been through the process of writing and recording, it's taken weeks, months. So just how was that process? Writing a whole tune in 24 hours, recording it all. Is it just coffee? How do you get through that? What was that like?
Well, when you go to make a song, and like you're excited about it, you know, that first initial feeling. Don't you, that you could just like keep that going, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's been
spark.
my kind. Like, yeah, it's super hard. So like my goal has kind of been to like, I'll get an idea, and it'll be like 5 minutes, you know, and I'll be like, okay, that's really cool, and I'm just gonna like record this on my voice memos, and then I'm done, and I'm gonna move on to the next. Like, I'm gonna keep it in the key and try to make up the next part, and I'll have like 6, 7, 8 melodies, chord progressions, thoughts for that song, and I'll kind of like stop, and then when I go to LA and record, I like normally present those ideas really quickly to my friend Zach Jones, who's a producer in LA, and he's been so, like pivotal to like my songwriting process and structuring and like pop and stuff lately. Like he's finally like I think he's like a little proud of me because I'm like relenting like control over like, but dude, like I've had this idea, and like I like, you know, have this like insane drive to keep that idea, you know. And he's like, it's not like 100%, and I'm like, oh, like lately I've been able to let go and be like, you're right, like, all right, let me get over my emotions about like needing to change this to make it better, and like let's make the best thing we can. And a lot of times that's just me showing him those ideas, and then us like trying to make the best song we can, and like keeping those goals in mind of like, you know, I want people to be able to put it on anywhere and listen to it at any time, and it not have to be this like this emotional struggle, like, because the bands that I like that are like this brooding emotional thing where like I need to hear that sometimes, but like I love artists too where like they can make it that with something that you can play over and over again and show anybody, and it's like it's not gonna like kill your party.
No, I know what you mean, the kind of nighttime like in between sleep music, like where you really the introspective kind of thing. Okay.
Yes, and you get it over again, and like that's my goal is to kind of get it there, you know.
So in terms of like the writing process for the new stuff and the old stuff, is it always kind of that spontaneous? Like when you were writing stuff for like your first album or for Will, like was it kind of something where you're just like trying to get it all out as soon as possible, or did you like to go back and edit, amend previous things?
It was the opposite of what I was just saying with now. It was like, it was more like everything is like has to be so important, and like I can't sacrifice like trying to make something catchy for like this thing that I'm trying to get off my chest. But I think a lot of that was like being a younger songwriter and kind of trying to like tell my story more. I think that I was like diving pretty deep into my past and like things that I needed to get off my chest. Like the whole reason I started making music in the first place was because like I just needed to write something down and like feel better about it, you know. And music was like an outlet. And like music's still my outlet 100%, and I want to bring people up, you know. Even though the song might be a subject matter or something I really care about, like I want to shape it into something that's like it's gonna be something that you can share with others and like and make sense to more people and be something that like brings light, you know.
Absolutely. So how did you get into making music? Like what was your first instrument? When did you start writing songs? Like, you want to talk about kind of your origin story?
All right. First thing was my mom made me take piano lessons.
Same.
You did?
Thanks to mom. Definitely, yeah. My mom made me take piano lessons. That was it.
Still read music?
a little bit. I only know which one C is, so I have to go like from C everywhere. Yeah.
So, like, I got really into it, and I always cared, and my brother would take the lessons with me, and he would never practice and never, he would go to the lesson begrudgingly, and I just differed from him, and like a lot of kids, I think, and where I was like, and I loved, so I was always like a geeky math student, and it just it was like a puzzle that I needed to figure out, like how all these keys can kind of like fit together and like, two spaces between or one, and like what it does to the song by doing that, and like all the notes laid out in front of you on a piano.
Yeah.
Piano, favorite instrument for sure.
Cool. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's where I've been writing the new stuff, and whereas I was writing all the old stuff on guitar because I could play it better.
Yeah.
But lately, like just with theory and everything, and like trying to figure out progressions and see how all the notes make sense, like piano is by far the best for me. And so I did that, and then from high school, and like me finding like these emo bands that I like loved, and like I heard these emo anthems and stuff in my teens, like 15 was about the time that I finally was like, oh, I think guitar is cool,
Yeah.
And have you ever seen You Do?
No, I haven't.
This movie, Tom Hanks is in it, and he plays a music manager. It's like, I think, like people that will watch this will know that movie. It's popular, but it was like this like cult movie, and he plays a music manager, and he finds this like poppy band called the Wonders, but it's spelled Oneders, and like people like when they're starting out are like the Oneaters and stuff. And it's just this funny movie, but like the drummer is the main character, and the song on it that's like kind of the anthem of the whole movie, and it's like, oh yeah, you're doing that thing you do, and like he goes cha 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 cha, and it shows him playing that throughout the movie like 5 times, I would guess 5 or 6, maybe more. And I see how he did it, and like my brain was like, I think I can do that. Like I gotta get a drum set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like one of my friends growing up, his brother had a drum set in his room, and like every time I'd go over there, like we'd be like playing sports and stuff in the backyard, and then like anytime we went inside, I would like slink off into this room with these drums, and I would be like trying to play that beat,
trying to recreate that beat. Nice.
Yeah. And then you bring the hi-hat in, and like the puzzle of all that, and like no one telling you how to do it and everything. And then I ended up buying that drum set from them because that guy never played them.
It was better in your hands.
Yeah. What's that?
It was better in your hands. It was just gathering dust in there.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So I got that drum set. It was a C drum set, which are my initials, Cody Bowers, and I was like, this makes sense.
It was like unity, like it had to happen,
Yeah, God had this in his plan for me.
Cool.
That beat, and I learned those drums, and then like right around that time, like one of my best friends in high school, 2 of them, it was Isaac and Vince. They were starting this band, and it was like a mix between like Blink-182 and like Metallica or something, and they asked me to play drums, and I was like, I don't think I've ever taken something so seriously before. Like I was like, I gotta get better at drums. I gotta blah blah blah, and that whole first band story is just hilarious. But as most first bands are, it was just like a funny learning experience, and my buddy Isaac and Vince, who play the guitar, they kind of would like slowly like show me chords on a guitar and stuff, and then I bought one, and then I started playing guitar, and then like getting into all that emo music I mentioned, and then from there it just like I couldn't stop. I was obsessed,
Yeah, that's sick. That's a super The whole piano thing is kind of like it sounds like a little bit of kind of a left brain approach to music, which is definitely really interesting. You know what I mean? Like the whole puzzle to solve. Like I definitely sympathize with that. I think that's a really cool kind of anecdote. Talking about, and I think that learning piano definitely down the road, whether like you know that you're doing this or not, I think it gives you like, in terms of composition, like an advantage. You know what I mean? Because when you're playing a piano as a kid, I think it's like you begin to better understand like where different frequencies start to like blend in with each other, and like it's easier to like overlay and sort of like stack things down the road. So I think that you can definitely see that in your music now, like where that came from at a young age. To switch gears,
Yeah, man.
yeah, to switch gears a little bit, just to talk about kind of the dreams of non-pandemic world. If you want to talk about like where some of your favorite shows have been, what cities, what venues, and maybe like if you could play a show with any two artists right now, who do you think you would want to do it with? That's a question we like to ask. Yeah, and you can think about that one, but
yeah, I'll come back to that. The first question that I've played.
Yeah, favorite shows, favorite cities.
So when I started the band, I was in Harrisonburg, Virginia. That's where I went to college, and I was doing business as my major in Spanish, and I remember I told my mom, I was like, because I was getting pretty into music, and I was like, I think I want to do music for a little while instead of like business stuff, and pretty supportive, and I played like my first show ever, I think, in a basement in Harrisonburg, Virginia, with partially the band that was, the band Mammoth Indigo for years, and then we like got to play in Virginia called the Golden Pony now. It's called Blue Nile. But it is one of the best venues to this day that I've ever played. The stage is probably 15 by 15. It's like in the basement underneath the restaurant. And it's just like the crazy amalgamation of like music snobs, like rejects, like artists, like you name it, and like everyone supports it, and it's like this awesome place that I can't imagine like trying to play my first show like at a venue anywhere else, because like they're intimidating, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Something about this place is like so like darkly warm, and like full, and like people are there for you, even though like all these bands tour through and people show up, Bands that are like little indie bands, kind of up and coming, and like people just want to hear it. It's like that is to this day one of my favorite venues. Cool. And I played there every time I go through Virginia. And then beyond that, we toured with Taking Back Sunday, and like every show we played with them was like stupid, Like I played in Virginia at these venues that I've like gone to see like Weezer and like huge band, and then I was like on the stage and like everything was going wrong at our sound checks and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god!
Yeah. Yeah. And
like we played like tons of sold out shows with them that were just like I couldn't believe it, And like 930 Club in DC is definitely off the like dream list, and like I'll forever be grateful to like Taking Back Sunday and like being their manager, and like just for helping us out, and our manager at the time, Caitlin Margulies, and like that was definitely crazy. But coming full circle to now, who I'd want to play with.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that I totally blend with all the artists that I love now. It's kind of hard for me to like pinpoint who I like my music sounds like. I don't know if you have any ideas on that, but I would love to hear them. But like my favorite artists who I would love to like tour or play shows with are like Porches. I don't know if you listen to.
Yeah, I listen to a little bit of Porches. Cool.
And I love George Clanton. Yeah, I played one of my first shows ever with him back when he was in this like totally different band, and he just changed his whole thing, and he makes like Vaporwave music, and I love music. I'm obsessed with it. And I mean, Next Sunday was a huge check off the list of like, that was like obviously how like tons of people like the anthemic choruses that they would come up with and still do. It's like mind blowing to me that you can come up with such catchy things that are so sentimental, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, like just off the top of my head real quick, probably the three artists that I'm like just blown away by.
Cool. Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah, Tame Impala, you know, I'm
Yeah,
obsessed.
Yeah.
I mean, Cat, who else? So many bands that, and like artists that I really like. Like, I like pop stuff a lot too. And I don't really see myself playing shows with those pop artists. But I would love to like write a song with some of them, you know.
This artist we were just like looking into, called Claude. Have you ever heard of Claude?
Never.
I don't know. You should at least. They've got this new album called Super Monster. It's definitely got pop. If you're looking for like good pop, I didn't love it because it didn't like hit as hard as I wanted it to, like in terms of like deep meaning. But you should give that album. You should check it out. I'd be curious to see what you thought. Just based on like pop production, and it sounds like something that might be checking some of these boxes. So, but yeah, that'd be super neat to find out. But yeah.
Have you heard of Goth Babe?
Yeah, I've heard of Goth Fave.
That's another one of my favorites right now. Like I love his pop / psychedelic chill vibe. That, you know, that's one of those things where you can like put it on anywhere, and like that's really
super big range with Goth Babe too. Like, I feel like I've heard some acoustic tunes coming from him, and like also like synth jams. You know what I mean? And I'll check. I'll be like, this is Goth Babe stuff. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
In the same song,
Yeah.
like he incorporates an acoustic guitar and like these vocals that are kind of like these crooner type vocals, like and you're like, and then the music's like this like like cool cat stuff, and I'm like obsessed.
Yeah, totally. So just to close things out, this is a purely hypothetical, and it might, I don't know. The pandemic it's been tough. I don't mean to keep bringing it up. I'm just wondering, like, your plans, kind of, whenever this wraps up, what is it gonna look like for you? You've been releasing a couple singles. Is that working up to like an EP that you're ready to drop, an album that you're ready to drop? Do you know ballpark when you're trying to get that to come out? Are you gonna think you're gonna tour over the summer if you can? Just what are your plans coming up?
Well, everything's so in the air. My only goal right now is to what it is, whether it's a single or an EP or an album. I just want to like keep people like coming back and be like, what are they doing? You know, that's literally all I want to do is like give everyone like something to keep listening to, like throughout this time. That's my goal. That being said, in the next months I have a couple more singles coming out.
Cool. Sweet.
And I'm pumped on them. They're definitely like not everything, which I just dropped that you said yesterday. It's like one of my favorite songs I've ever made. But then the next that are coming up are like right up there as well. And then I have a few that I've been demoing out, and some that are like I went to a studio and made, and I like we just like I didn't like I've been trying to make these songs like super quick in like 2 sessions, and a couple of them weren't fully realized, but I think I'm still gonna release them, like maybe not on everything, but on like Bandcamp or something, so that people can at least hear them, because I'm still proud of them, and I think they're really cool.
Definitely, sweet.
Touring wise, me and Eric, the drummer, and then Adam, the bassist, when things like are in full swing again, like I would love to do another tour. It's kind of like, it's just kind of one of those things where I'm not like trying to plan around it, because things are so crazy.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I'm pumping out music, that's all.
Awesome. Sweet, man. All right, well, listen, it was great having you here. It was great to talk to you, and yeah, everyone, check out everything. Check out all of Mammoth Indigo's music. It's all fantastic. You're gonna be featured definitely on our February playlist. Anything we can do to boost up your music. But yeah, it was really great to meet you, man. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it, and I love what you're doing too.
Thanks, man. All right, great to meet you, dude.